There are considerable differences in the end product between the different LowRider color options, as these options change more than just color. The actual leather can be different from one to the next. This changes how the sheath feels as well as how much effort is required to sheath and draw the knife before the leather is broken in. This is the first in a series of videos aimed at illustrating the differences between various leather color options for the LowRider pocket sheath. The goal of this series of videos is to help customers make informed choices when deciding between these options. To help me show this, I will go over each leather type, the thickness, the feel, and the temper of the leather. We'll look at a finished LowRider sheath in that leather, and we'll also fit a few well-known knives into them so that you can see how that changes between the options. Some will be easy to use on day one, and some will require the leather to break in a little more before they become comfortable to use. My initial plan was to cover all of the leather options in one video, but when I started to write them down, I realized that would make for a rather long video. So in order to keep things short, I am breaking it into parts. In this first part, we'll go over the black and dark brown options, the cowboy, the root beer leather, Dollaro, and for the first time I will introduce and go over the caramel harness leather color option. Let's get started. The first option we'll cover is black and dark brown. These are the same leather, just different colors. I will only show the black in this example as it represents both. This is a stiff permanent leather averaging 7 ounces in thickness. Sheaths made with this leather will generally deliver a tight fit with most knives. It doesn't want to be bent. You can see here I'm trying to bend it. It's really giving me a lot of resistance. It's very stiff and it really holds its shape very well. Here's the sheath made with that leather. And this sheath is a very solid sheath. Again, it's a tight model. It is very resistant to bending. Has a very healthy welt. Again goes for the black as well as the brown. It does resist when I try to bend it. If I try to push the sides together, it's difficult for me to do that. Let's see here how the knife with a thin handle will do on this sheath. This is a very thin handled knife and here it is going into the sheath. There is very moderate resistance. This sheath is brand new and it holds on to that thin handle fairly well. It probably wouldn't be my first choice for a knife like that, but it would work if you want to use it that way. Moving on to something with a more average handle. This is the M1 Backpacker Pro from White River Knives, and you can notice here I'm having already a little bit tougher time inserting the knife. Once in there, it has a very good retention, and removing the knife is also presents a little more effort, requires a little more effort than the previous knife. Moving on to the Winkler, this knife also has an average handle and it does require a little bit more effort as well to enter the sheath. Once there, it holds very well. And it is not difficult to remove, but you can feel that it holds on. Now on to my thicker handled knife. This one is the KNAFS Lulu, and here you'll notice that I'm having considerably more difficulty seating the knife properly, but it does eventually reach that point, and once it does, it is very well retained. You'll notice here also I'm having a more difficult time removing the knife, and I have to proceed cautiously to make sure that I do this carefully. And that is the black leather. It stands also in for the dark brown leather. Our next option is the Cowboy Leather. This covers all Cowboy Leather colors. It's a thin leather. You'll see here that it's a lot softer. It's a lot lighter and softer than the black leather option. This leather has pull-up. You can see here it has good pull-up. When I push in from inside, it changes color. And this one averages 4.5 to 5 ounces. So here we have, it's a thinner leather than it's a lighter leather than the black or dark brown, and it is also has a much softer temper than those other ones. Here's the sheath made with that leather. Makes a very, very good looking sheath. It's a light sheath, very lightweight. When I try to push the sides together, I can feel them. It does not give too much resistance when I try to bend it, and you can see it's quite roomy on the inside. The leather is still a healthy, the welt is still pretty healthy, but it is lighter essentially. As we attempt to put a knife with a thin handle, I certainly would not recommend this pairing. This will provide a little bit of retention, but you'll notice that it does move a little bit from side to side there, and that's a brand new sheath. This knife does not present a lot of effort to go in and out. It's not what I would recommend for a lightweight option like this. Now, as we move on to the average size handle, here we see a better fit. This knife goes in fairly easy right away, and you'll notice on the back there that the handle pushes onto the leather, and which is gaining retention. However, it is not presenting a ton of resistance when I try to put it in or out. Again, here with the Winkler, an average handle thickness does not present really any resistance at all. It does have a retention, however, not more than necessary. It is very easy right away to sheath and to draw the knife on day one. And finally, as we move on to the KNAFS Lulu, the thicker handle representation, you see here that it does require a little bit more effort, but it's very easy to put into this sheath right away on day one. And the retention is a foregone because it is a thicker knife, so it definitely pushes onto the leather more and gains more retention, but does not give you a lot of challenge to go in or out. And that is Cowboy Leather. Nice pull up on that leather, very light weight option for pocket carry. Moving on to the root beer leather. This leather is averaging about 4.5. It is, again, this is a very lightweight leather. Beautiful colors on this. Does not have pull-up. It is of a softer temper. Now this one, I'm trying to measure this one several times because I keep getting a larger measurement than average, and I think that's because I'm not holding it properly. But regardless, I do measure this several times until I find something that I know is a little more average. These measurements that I'm taking here are coming in higher than what I know this to be the average. This is around a 5-ounce leather, and these readings are coming in at around 6 or a little bit more than 6. But regardless, it is a very light, is very soft leather, super smooth to the touch. The sheath made with this leather, the surface of it is really smooth, it's really nice to the touch, and again, very lightweight. So we see here that the actual sheath itself is fairly easy. It's soft. It does not present a lot of resistance at all. It really is a very, very lightweight option. If I wanted to bend this more, I could. I'm not going to, but it's very, very lightweight. If you were to try to put a knife with a very thin handle like this, it's not going to work. You can see here that this is not going to hold on to that knife one bit. I would not recommend this pairing at all. That's root beer is very light and does not provide a ton of retention for thin-handled knives. As we move on to a more average, we see better function. This being a lightweight model as well, does not present resistance on day one for sheathing. Sheathing and drawing the knife is very easy. The same here with the Winkler. Again, this is an average handle, and as you can see there, it goes in very easy. It does have retention, but it does not give you challenge on day one as far as drawing and sheathing the knife, as you can see here. Next up, we have Dollaro Leather, averaging about 5 ounces in thickness. This stem has a medium temper, and it's really a beautiful, beautiful leather. This texture is embossed onto a different leather, and it makes a fantastic looking leather. It is around 5 ounces or so in thickness. And because it is embossed, it has a slightly, it's a little more sturdy than the average leather that has not been embossed. And here's the sheath made with that leather. Again, really gorgeous leather. I have several color options of this leather. I really like this one as well as the olive option. They really look fantastic. And it's a non-designated. It's not really either a tight or a light. It's kind of in the middle of the road. It's a sturdy leather. It's it's 5 ounces, so it's not super thick, and it's got room for pretty much all the knives. Again, here with this one, you probably will get a little bit of retention on the thinner handle knives, but probably wouldn't be my first option with knives this thin, because they're just really very thin here. Although, if you wanted to, you could get away with it. Moving on again to the average handle here on this M1 Backpacker Pro from White River Knives, and you have a good fit. Excellent retention here. This will work. Very nice, not very difficult to sheathe or draw the knife right away on day one, but better retention than the light models. As we move on to the Winkler, again, easy to sheathe and draw, and that's what that looks like. Very, not a whole lot of challenge, but considerably more retention than the light models on this non-designated middle-of-the-road Dollaro Leather. And again, here we have the KNAFS Lulu, which is representing the thicker handles, and it goes in without presenting too much challenge. It is full, basically to full capacity with that handle, and not a ton of challenge on day one to sheath and draw the knife. And finally, we're moving on to the caramel harness leather. This one is coming in at around 6 ounces, and this leather has a gorgeous character. All of the marks from the animal, whenever it was alive, are present in this leather. It is a very, very stiff leather. It resists trying to bend it. It does have a little bit of pull-up, but as I'm finding out, it does kind of fade away once you have it in there for a while. This is the sheath made with it, and the character carries right over. The sheath is very, very sturdy. It is like wood. I mean, it's like very, very stiff. This is going to provide a very good amount of retention. I guess I didn't measure it the first time, so I'm doing it again here, and it averages around 6 ounces. So there you have it, around 6 ounces thick for this leather, and it is, again, as you can tell, very, very stiff, very non-forgiving as far as not very soft leather. With the thin handle knife, again, it does provide retention. That leather holds on really well, but I would not recommend the thin handle on this on any of this other than the black or the dark brown if you have a knife with a handle that thin. Moving again on to the average handle of the M1 Back Pocket Pro, and here you're starting to see immediately a little bit more resistance going in. Excellent retention right away with that average handle. You can tell that it's a little more effort to remove it and to put it in than the other options. We have the Winkler here representing another average handle. And again, you can see that it's a normal effort, I would say. And again, excellent retention. Finally, moving on to the thicker handle representative here, the KNAFS Lulu. And again, effort to insert the knife, but it does fit. And once there, it will be very well retained. And that is the harness leather. Folks, that is all for today. I will cover other color options in upcoming videos. If you have any questions, please reach out to the email on your screen. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.